Hi, I hope you're doing well today. We're continuing to look at Arban, as you probably know. We're going to look at, in the section called 6/8 meter. 6/8, some people don't like to play in 6/8, but I think that's just a matter of getting used to it. And we have a very interesting rhythmic figure to look at today. This is number 31 on page 31 in my edition of the Arban book. And it's this what you might call the Ride of the Valkyrie rhythm. So you'll hear a lot of lower brass players especially practicing, you know, dun ding da dun ding dun ding da da dee. It's that rhythm. So you have a dotted eighth, 16th, eighth. So it's 3/8, dotted eighth, 16th, eighth in this 6/8 2 feel. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play it. It says allegretto. He gives you a wide tempo range to practice. And of course, if you're like me, you always want to play things fast. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to try and play it somewhere in the middle. Let's see. Maybe around 80 or so. It's got an interesting feel to it. It's a very energetic kind of rhythm. Very insistent kind of rhythm. Now, of course, you can play this in a lot of different styles. I'll give you an example. You'll keep the same rhythm, but play with a different attitude. So I was playing the music the way I felt it. It has a kind of a little bit of a military quality to it, a little bit of command to it, dun, da, dee, da, a little insistent. I'm going to change that, but I'm going to try and keep the rhythm the same. So I just brought a different attitude to it. And this is a wonderful thing to do when you're practicing. Otherwise, what tends to happen is we play things exactly the same way over and over and over again. And what that tends to do is to get you a little bit frozen in terms of your expressive capabilities. So it's something I think you would benefit from tremendously from doing this. And think of as many styles as you can. Now, of course, you can also change the tempo. I played the same tempo. If I play this at a slower tempo, that's going to have a kind of a different musical effect. It just feels different. Same thing with the faster tempo. So let's see, the fast tempo he indicates is 96. So that's clipping right along. Yeah, you get the idea. So I'll tell you one thing that's interesting about rhythm. This rhythm is, you can think of it, and I think most of us will probably tend to do this, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and 3, 1, and 3, 1. So we're thinking 1, 2, and 3, and the 16th is a pickup to 3. I hope that makes sense to you. Think about it for a while. 1 and 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. And there's your circle. 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. So you're always coming back to that strong beat. And it's the feel that's important here. Now, of course, if we're diligent in our playing, we're trying to play with consistent and accurate subdivision. And that means that we know we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, dum, di, ding, di, and we're lining it up. Now, trying to do that tends to make most people a little bit rigid. And remember, this is a kind of a swinging feel since it's a 3. So you're combining this diligence this concentration on the subdivision with this feeling of 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. And those two things are both happening at the same time. So be patient with yourself when you're working on this. But I strongly recommend when you think that you're doing well, record yourself and listen honestly and see and actually conduct with it and see if you can feel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, D, da, da, de, whether everything is lining up in the right place. The reason why this is so important is because when we're playing music like Ride of the Valkyrie, that's a large group of musicians that are all doing the same rhythm at the same time. So we have to be precisely in agreement, in synchronization with each other when we're doing this. So this requires a lot of discipline, and this is your training and your preparation. And I realize we do a lot of this by ourselves. That's why I'm making these videos, to try and help you who are out there without a lot of dependable instruction available to you, possibly, to be able to listen and teach yourself how to play. That's kind of the way I learned how to play. So I hope this is helping you to do the same. Another way to look at this rhythm, remember I said 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. You can also look at it in a way that for most people is unnatural, but if you think of it mathematically is true. You can look at it as a duple rhythm. Why? Because you have 6 16th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you got that. So you can think of like in 3, or 1 That's a duple rhythm. And the cool thing is, if I'm doing it straight with no inflection, you shouldn't be able to tell which one I'm doing. What's going on is purely in my mind. It's the way I'm feeling it. But the fact is, we get influenced by the feel, and that's a good thing. And I remember one time working in the BSO trumpet section, and Pete Chapman, who was the second trumpet player most of the time I was there, we were playing a figure, something like this. And he said, how are you guys thinking about that? Are you thinking it in 3 or 2? And it turned out that some of us were thinking it one way, and some of us were thinking it the other way. And even though it was lining up, and we were all playing good ensemble, everything was together, Peter could sense that the feel was, we were not all feeling it the same way. Now that's really important, because when you're hearing a wonderful chamber group or an amazing, large ensemble like a great symphony orchestra, people have learned that the basis of good musicianship is learning how to feel the music in agreement with the way the other people are feeling the music, whether it has to do with the tempo, the timing variations, all the things that have to do with the feel of the music. Everything you can imagine, we're trying to be in agreement in the way we're sensing it, each one of us, in our own selves. So I'm going to play this rhythm again, and I'm just going to loop the rhythm, and this is a good way to practice it. Again, you can, of course, use a metronome. Now, what I was just doing is trying to keep the sound, the musical intensity, the shape of the notes, and the sound of the front of the note the same. That in itself is good craftsmanship. But there's no inflection. So it doesn't have any kind of rhythmic energy. It's just like a mechanical pulse. good thing about practicing that way is you get to see whether the sound is consistent, whether you're playing a shorter note or a longer note. That's really important. So the air movement, the follow through, the support, the freedom of the vibration of your lips, the focus of the airstream are all absolutely consistent. Good craftsmanship. Now, I'm going to add to that. Now I'm going to swing it. So we're going dum, da, dum, dum, 3, 1. So you can hear my first note is a little heavier, the third note is a little heavier, and the 16th is a little lighter. Now I'm going to do the opposite. Now, even though I was thinking in 3, it could start to sound to a listener like I'm going da, 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 like they were all on a beat. Isn't that interesting? So what I like to do, since I like to play games, is switch back and forth mentally as I'm practicing it. So I might play, a few beats, 1, 2, 3, 1, and then that's just a mind game. But the flexibility to do that without anybody being able to tell what you're doing, that gives you mechanical precision and control. And then go with the swing. Always try and find the swing. When you're playing this with other people, you're trying to all feel that rhythm the same way. So it's very much like back in the day when the great swing bands would kind of compete with each other to see who could swing the hardest, which sounds kind of funny to me, swing the hardest. Swing the deepest, swing the most naturally, you might say. In other words, the music is kind of playing itself. You're just along for the ride. So don't think that this is something that you create. You're trying to tap into kind of universal forces of vibration that are there all the time. This rhythm has existed forever, and you're just tapping into it. That's a great way to feel it. I hope some of this is helpful to you, but it will only be helpful if you try and do it. So just pick a few things and work on them and see how much progress you can make. Enjoy the process. I'll see you later on. Bye-bye.